listeners, Harika here, and I'm super excited to welcome you to UppTalk. If you're ready to learn and get your hands work wonders in the world of information technology, then you're in the right place. When I say UppTalk, we are not just another edtech company. Consider we are your learning partner committed to unlocking your full potential. Whether you're stepping into the world of technology for the first time or looking to advance your career, we provide top-tier, hands-on courses to build up your career. Let's take our first step towards learning here and explore it.
Basically, we will be covering the installation of CyberArk itself. Today, we will install the CyberArk model first. Before covering on the virtual machine, can you click on the Edit Virtual Machine settings? Click on Options on the top. Option. Select Shared Folders. Show Folder. On the hand side, select All of Us and Apple. Map Azure Network Drive. Click on Add. And select the path where you have downloaded that server client and other rest of the package. The package is it. Select the entire folder. I have shared around 5 files. Master keys, operator keys, license server client. I just loaded everything on a common folder here. Everything is under the CyberArk VM. That should be. But can you extend the master keys and operator keys also here? Hold on. Open the license text. Go to File menu and click on Save As. Now give the name like license XML. And then the Save As type. Select all files. Select all files. I just given the code. That should be. Just click on Save. And go back to that folder and see it was saved in XML. Looks like. Now go back to that VM. I'll just copy this path. Click on Cancel and you can paste that path. Now click on Next. Finish. Now power on the virtual machine. Put it in full screen. Today we will finish the Vault installation and also private our client. Private. Our client is not a particular interface for accessing the Vault. Once we finish these 2 installations, then tomorrow, day after tomorrow, we'll take off and on Monday we'll teach about Vault 2. Like after the installation of the Vault, how many services we will get and how many saves and what are those saves and what are those services. All those stuff I will explain. Paste option is it. Even after we install we can paste that. Open File Explorer. Open Server Folders. Open Sidebar. Select Client, Master Keys, Operator Keys, Server and License for text. I'll just select the license and first 4 folders. Client Master Keys, Operator Keys and Server. Now close the Server Manager again. Click on Close. Now create one folder on the desktop. Desktop is fine. Open that folder. Paste that. We have an operating system and we have binaries. Now we need to assign one IP address to this virtual machine. On the task, you can go with that command and select it. We'll take out all the other things except for the TCP before. But in real time, we need to select the file and select the few ones. These things are not just a double click on the Internet Protocol. One dot one dot one, 1.1.1. It is not required. Now open Server folder. From bottom to fourth, one setup. Click on the setup. Here it is saying like pending Microsoft.NET Framework 0.5.2. For installing the version 1.2.4 version, we discovered the .NET Framework 4.5.2. First, this Vault package is having the .NET Framework also. Basically, this would do everything which is required for this package. If you are going to install version 2.2 or 2.4, it requires a .NET Framework 4.3. Like that. If the version changes, if the cyber version changes, this .NET Framework version also will change. Sorry to interrupt. Can you repeat that? If you are going to upgrade the version 11 above what exactly? Then what exactly the requirement? In case if your current version is a LEN 2.4 and if you are planning to upgrade to WorldArt to a WorldArt 4 or WorldArt 6, then we require a .NET Framework of 4.8. You need not to upgrade during the upgrade beforehand. Just during the upgrade time only, you can install the .NET Framework 4.8. I have one question here. Please correct if I'm wrong. See if you are doing any of creation of any of the service provider services like CyberArk. If you are doing any of creation and all from the portal itself, they have some aggression packages or AP. If we just go on through this operation procedure from the administrator portal, can we do in that way as also, or we have only? This is the way. The operation, you need to follow the steps if you are operating. That makes you need to update the document. You can update during that. Double click on that setup. In case if that doesn't meet the prerequisites, it will clear the conflict. We require document framework for that. In that case, you can download the document framework or you can take support from the server team and you can install the .NET framework version 4.8 and then you can start to initialize on that after the aggression from 11 to 2. After done by the aggression, do we need to any changes on the existing requirement? What already existing work? Sorry, what existing work is already there. Do we have to do some changes on it or not? Thank you. In a 11.2 version, they have provided this .NET framework also in the server. It's packaged. But if you are going to install a 11.4, this .NET framework is not a call at work of this server version. We need to manually install the .NET Framework 4.0 version and then we need to install the 11.4 version. It's more of a prerequisite kind of thing. It needs to be fulfilled first, then go ahead with the package. In case the document framework is already installed, then this prerequisite will pass and directly report the initializing. Oh, also CyberArk really provides some long-term support like that. These were, since will provide a lot of things. We can put those lessons also for operators. Long-term support is from the cyber team. Cyber are better. It's those we can touch that as a stable lessons and they will provide some long to do anything. It will be automatically. Here we need to provide one name and company. In case if you are installing the cyber or quality company, we can put both the name and company that you are doing like this. In our lab, you can provide it. We can install one server in 3 modes. First one is standalone Vault installation. Second one is cluster Vault installation and third one distributed. I will tell you what are the differences between standard one Vault, cluster Vault and distributed ones in later stage or in the world. But in our lab we can install only standard install. For cluster mode installation, we have a few other prerequisites like quite a few modes which are identical. And these two modes are connected in a private network. We can't establish those kind of things in our lab environment. We will go with the standard 1 vault installation. I will explain like what is standalone, what is cluster, and what is distributed in one place. We just select the standard vault installation and the default path of installation directory is like ctr program files. In case in company environment, in case if they change to D drip, then it will be like D program files. All the saves will be stored in cprivateer and saves folder. What files exactly is to be stored here? What destination folder in the safe? What kind of folder? All the saves that are stored in the safe. Vault contains the safe. I think I didn't explain that part. I will cover that also. Just wait a moment. I will stop screen sharing. As I explained, like a vault is a server which is used to store all the privileged equipment. Inside the vault, we have a safe. Safe is nothing, but it is a logical unit which is used to store all the privileged equipment. How CyberArk has designed this vault. They took bank as an example. In bank, we have lockers. Inside lockers, we can keep some privileged things like gold, silver, or money. The same way this vault also designed. Inside the vault, we have safes, and inside the safe, we have privileged equipment. Whenever you unload any account into CyberArk, the account credentials, the privileged account credentials, will be stored in the safe. These safes will be residing in the vault. This is the kind of architecture. And coming to vault installation vaults, we have three types. First one is standalone. Second one, cluster distribution. In standalone vault, we have only one vault in product side. Always, we will install vault in two data centers. One is production data center and second one is a beer data center. In cluster, we have two vaults in production state. Active synchronous pass. In this we do some issue. If your active vault is down, then your pass vault will be up and down. These two vault servers will be managed by cbmong cluster vault. This cluster vault manager is also a service provided by the CyberArk. Previous to version 9.9 means till 9.8 version, this CBM will be managed by Microsoft. We need to use Microsoft cluster. But after 9.8 version, CyberArk itself has provided the CBM. They only designed the CBM and they have provided two cluster vaults. In case if your active vault is down, then immediately the pass vault will be up and down. In case if your cluster vault is having some issue, then DR vault will be up and down. It depends upon the configuration. In case if you configure for automated failover, then DR vault will be up and down. In case if you configure for manual failover, then there is no service. We need to manually start our DR vault. Any doubt? In this case, for the cluster vaults, two vaults are installed at the same data center, or two vaults are installed at the same data center. At the same time, only one vault is active and the other one is passing. What could be the better use case? I'm just trying to see the difference between the standalone and the cluster. Because in standalone, the way I see it, I think it's more of a manual failover which needs to be done in the event when the primary one goes down. Then the secondary. No, we can configure in standalone also, like automatic failover. In case if your production vault goes down, then after 7 minutes, DR vault will be up in case if you configure automatic failover. But in standalone, only one vault at the production side. But in case if you install cluster in a production data center, we have two vaults like more retail access. In case if your active vault goes down, then we get a possible vaults. For more retail access, we can go with cluster. Most of the organizations, like 9% I can say, will go with cluster. Does it mean that's more of a VIP configuration being done? Only. How many users for the standalone cluster and distribution like as in the standalone one vault? Is there a limitation? How many users we can configure in a cluster? There is no limitation for users because the user load will be handed over by the PBBOS server, not by the vault. How many accounts you are planning to onboard based on that vault want to designate to be unconfirmed? What is the problem? Coming to distributed vault architecture. In case if your client or organization is having multiple data centers across the globe, then in that case we need to go for distributed vault. In distributed vault architecture, in case if your organization is having data centers across Asia, India and Bangladesh. Then we can go with distributed vault architecture. We can take one vault as a master vault and remaining two as slaves. In distributed vault architecture, master vault will be active and at regular intervals data will be replicated to the slave ones. In case of any failure scenario for the master vault, the primary slave will become as a master vault. I hope this three kind of vault architecture is clear and Vault Safe Center privileged. But again, if it is a distributed, suppose if there is one vault server designated at Hong Kong, we would have only one vault in place. Or should that again have a redundancy of a DR within itself? No, there is no DR. Exactly. These slaves will act as a DR. Fair enough? That makes sense. Then here in a distributed, the master is there. As you said, the vault safe information is in Asia. IMA and Americas have some different. It should have the same safe or safe information or different information. This vault. Safe information is the same around all the vaults, not in the distributed in case if you consider your standalone or cluster also. In case if you consider standalone, this data will be replicated from prod to DR vault at regular intervals. In case if it is different, in case if the production vault goes down, then how you can restore that DR? Yes, this data should be similar. This data should be identical. All the data from the prod vault will be replicated to DR vault at regular intervals and in the cluster also safe. If the data from active vault will be replicated to the DR vault at regular intervals either, it may be 60 minutes or 30 minutes. Again, if it is from a company to company, it will change. But why we need to go for distributed events? In case if your organization is having data centers across the globe, here we have one benefit. We can reduce the latency. You just can connect to Asia PVA. In here, you just can connect to India PVA and Americas. You can connect to Americas PVA. We can install PVA server in 3 different regions. Here we can avoid some latency. We can reduce some latency. That is, because if we have the safe information of Asia in America, we are entering in every way. There may be a lot of replications. In case if all the data is in Asia data center, if our user wants to retrieve the data, there is some latency. Why does this kind of scenario? In here, PVOA connect to India Vault and they can reduce the latency. Here we can reduce some latency. That is only the benefit for distributed vaults. You need to go with the distributed vaults only in case if your company is having data centers across the globe and India centers across the globe. Otherwise, we can go with cluster. In this case, does it mean that, at Hong Kong, I will be having one master vault as such, and the PVVA server is something which is local to Hong Kong and something like for EME. I will have a slave, but it is more of a DR kind of a thing, not active the vault. But I will have a local PVOA server again, which will again relate back for the authentication or anything to Hong Kong itself, because that's the master. You keep on next. It is asking for license file path. Now browse and look at your license. It is in the desktop. Scroll down to the bottom. Select installers. Just select installers. It will read the file, is it? It is asking for operator. You need to remember, during the installation, it will ask for operators, not the master. I will explain the use of master. But you need to remember, what are the files required for installation? What is license for other operators? Now you can browse and select the operators. Someone firstly selected which key, which one. License. Expand the operator again. Select the innermost folder. This is the remote control agent. You can skip this. Now and later we can. This is the control agent. If you want to monitor the port, we need to configure this. If you skip this remote control agent configuration during installation in the latest results, we can configure that. Now click on next. When you say that it could be remotely configured or to monitor, it's as good as you know. I don't have to take the RDP connection to my world server as such. That's what you mean. You can take the RDP connection from any one of the component server. We have a configuration file called the TGP-OM data. There you need to define from each server. You need to take RDP at the bottom. That is the different case. But if you want to monitor the board, like whether the services are not at the disk space and other things, for that we require this report. And this could be done at a later stage as well. This is what you mean in real time. What exactly the use of the remote control agent? If the admin want to monitor or do some configuration at the time, he need this to configure remote control agent. If we need the control server, but the services are and the what is the memory? For that, you can configure this control agent. This remote control agent will monitor the service. This is the same as the CPU utilization and memory utilization. If you test bytes above the configured range, then you will get a low tech infrastructure. Then at that stage, you can log into the server and check what service or what process it is calling the disk. See, when we say that, Vault is specifically a hardened operating system. And typically, what I have seen in my current environment is it's difficult to do even the IDP session. I think that's also kind of blocked. We access our Vault server essentially only through IDRAC or maybe HPILE or kind of a thing. In such a scenario, if I had to deploy any monitoring agent to specifically, say, monitor the storage space or maybe the replication between the D, or should I be relying on the monitoring platforms like Zabbix or this tool which we are speaking of that should come to a rescue here? We can rely on the monitoring solutions like SMMP. It's basically the SMP traps is what we will have to rely on. Either we can want to get Splunk alerts or SolarWinds alerts or some other monitoring tools. By default, only one of 5 or 4 is opened from the Vault. In case, if you want to enable monitoring from Vault, we need to open some firewall. In the same way, if you want to take RTP of the Vault from any one of the component servers, you need to open that port 33i10. We need to define from which IP we need to open. We need to connect to this Vault. That configuration will be connected to the contact env file. I will explain those things. Thank you. Definitely, we require ILO access or IDRAC access to access this physical server. In case if you put a server after patch and if it doesn't come up, then definitely require the ILO access or IDRAC access. In case if it is a HP server or in case it is some other vendor, then we require these two kind of access. I'll just go on next then. Here it is saying like install the distributed Vault internal communication platform, but we are not going with a distributed Vault architecture. We are going with standalone. You can keep on next. Here, do not harden the mission, but we required. No, don't select the checkbox. We required hardening of the Vault server as a security precaution. Just keep on the next, then it will harden the mission. It is saying like performing digital Vault is a hardening case. It is doing hardening process. When we speak of hardening in this concept, what are the highlighted parts or maybe the components which are disabled from the windows as such? By default, there are a lot of services running in the background of the server. But once the hardening happens, only 32 services, including 6 more services, will be running and remaining. All other services will be stopped. Apart from that, all the firewall rules will be blocked and only 4 to 1.5 will be enabled. But why don't we look at having a core OS installation itself then? Again, that's we need to manage at image level. We need to modify those for the GUI part of it. Apart from that, in background, CyberArk will do some other kind of things also, but we don't exactly what they are doing. These two are high level kind of things. Fair enough? Thank you. Server means this Vault server install is unmeasured. It's a good example of installers. And client means software installers of the Vault. If you want to access the Vault data, we require one interface. That client is a big interface. We need to install the interface for accessing the Vault data post installation of the Vault. I will ask you to install the client also. Then, after installation of the client, you will get one picture. What is client and what is server? Coming to master piece and operator piece. These are the two pieces. I will explain what is the difference between master and operator piece of the test bus and the license file. This is a license. Definitely, we require one license file for installing the software. That license is nothing but license file, no. Go back to the This was very quiet, very badly because it is a master password. Then we need to say that I went there for a second. They will provide one. We can reset the master password in case of the father. In case of the father, the signature to pass away and have a master person. Then we can reset. That's fine. But it is. If you forget the master person, then definitely need to pay some amount. They will provide some. I just go for next. What's happening? Stop working. I think I don't have any other choice. Should I close the program? Yes? There is no special characters in the password that it is only. This is the only one. This is fine. Can you go back to the setup and run? Just minimize all the folders. Services are controlled by. Close this, I'll be. All respect from the voice itself, not necessary from the member. Just going for the standalone one. Yes. Saves the same place. The server is the same as the license has already picked up the. It's dollars. Go for next. Or just go ahead and restart. I think for some reason it wasn't happening, but now it looks to be working. Uh, but I'll start the services. Something has gone wrong. Database. The next one it's once open, we see what are the message and we see what are all the services are available. Sure, I just go to the full screen mode. Now click on the key on the keyboard. Sorry, which one? P for private app. This is a server. I think several. We have stopped it. Maybe that's the reason then. But still then the DB itself is, we can start with the server, but we cannot get some of that. Now go to services and stop the logic container and database. First stop the private app database. Now go back to the installers and we don't have to click on this. No CyberArk service and logic container. That should be good. Click on. You can't repeat that. The web connection to database. Region access is made for all users. Same thing. What is the message? Advanced Encryption Standard S256. Scroll to Red Sync. RC48 subprotocol. File integrity is not match rising. It's showing that the file integrity, I said you have to write 2512 and the files to the local host password. Then it comes to remove this and then install. Go to installers and then unset up again. We'll remove this. We'll try to reinstall in case. If it doesn't work, then we reinstall the object sure. This is an interesting catch, but stop this database. It's already stopped. Refresh. Stop. Go back to the database. Logical container. I'll click. Oh, yes. Should I check for some services? I hope those services will be removed. I, I, no, I don't see anything. This is just the installer. This is the operator one. I think this is where somewhere we are trying to see that part, operator keys. I'll say next and I'll skip this. Should I do this? No, 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 don't check this. I hope it comes from password. I'll just make master 1, 2, 3 without any at the rate. But why there are certain special characters being disabled for the CyberArk? Because I have seen this in one of the system generated password, which we were trying to include. It or maybe reset. It never accepted and it had certain characters, some for the test. When we spoke to the vendor, he said if there are specific characters you still want to continue to use kind of the special characters in your password, then it needs a different setup to accept the password, it seems. But any particular reason behind it? Someone. What do you mean? Because I'm also, it didn't ask. I think my setup has gone production. Finish. Finish. But no other assets. I launched the private tax over. I think again it will automatically start. It's gone. Maybe I'll have to rebuild the OS by itself. I'll just create a new vmem operate from the operating system. Custom on the workstation tool. I want 22 only. That's what we downloaded. Here you said number of processes to write. Logic set. And you wanted me to edit something before we could load the ISO. It's only this file. That's it. It's fine. No, we should have it somewhere here. It's a down. One of the 969600. I'll say. And power on that. Then no machine. Then we need to add the file. What's the operating system? We. You can take around some 8 or 10 minutes. Have you mapped the proper record before covering up the system? No, I think that I have to do this on options. The shareholder. Here should I have to give the part and those that have said all the things. My file path. I think. And see like the client is there in the scroll up. For the OS, it is just the custom installation on the custom Windows OS. Which file you want me to send to you? Open your File Explorer. On the taskbar, you have a File Explorer. Open that File Explorer and go to Detail. Not this which are on the Task Manager. You have a File Explorer? Yes, you want me to close this on? No, this is fine. Now open a File Explorer. After Services, you have File Explorer. Open that. Go to your data. Open that cyber where you have stored the files. This is the most. Many things here. Can you do one favor? Just to select the master keys, operator keys, JP files. Not just select the JP files. Select the master keys operator, key server. Control. Go back to one folder. Create one more folder. Name it as Softwares. Open this folder. Paste here. Now click on the server. Extract to server. No, wait a minute. Extract to server. Do the same for master keys and operator keys also. Now go to Cyber folder. Copy this client. Copy or cut that client last one. Not this one. Just the JIP folder here. Cut this. And paste it in the software folder. Now click and extract to client. Good. Now copy this software path. Go back to your VMware. Paste here. Now click on Next. Click on. And power on the virtual instance. Now go back to the JP folder. Click on Full Screen Mode. How close the Server Manager? Open File Explorer. You have an icon on the taskbar. Open Server folders. Copy that software. Copy click. Paste it on desktop. Close this window. An SM1 IP address to the server. You want me to assign you an IP here. Hit the net 0. I will pick SAR first for you. Open server folder. Not a good one. You have already extracted this one. Another instance. You clicked on twice. If I'm already one is there on the taskbar. Just maximize it. For this server, 2 GB RAM is sufficient. No next to anything. Standalone. Next, say browse. No need to browse. You can go with the default location next. Here you need to browse and select the software on the desktop. And then you can go to the desktop. That's enough. Software is enough. Go to your software folder and see license XML is popular. Keep this window like this. On the taskbar you have opened that. There is no license. Go back to your main post mission. Just minimize this view. Software sorry. Go back to Cyber and see where you have copied that license file. In the software folder, all the files are there. License is not there. Can you cross it where you have copied that license file? I have shared that license file via email. License file you have shared. Then it should have been no notes. This one. Open that one. This file. File new. Click on File menu. You want me to close this one. You have a file menu. Before you have. Open that license file. Just follow my steps, please. Open that license file. Click on File menu. Now go to your software folder. Select D drive. Open site. Now enter the file name. At the end, you need to put small in the file name. Don't be hurry. In the Save As type, select the drop down and select All Files. Now click on Save. Close this file. Go back to that VM. Close the Server Manager. Open that Max that installation wizard. Now click on Next. Now open File Explorer. See. Click on this PC. Open Shared Folders. Just a moment. Open Software. Now copy this license. Go to Desktop. Open Software. And paste here. Now go back to your installation wizard and click on Next. No need to browse again. It is asking for operator city now. Now click on Browse. Scroll down. Expand Software. Expand operator city keys. Select operator keys folder. Skip this remote control agent configuration. Again, next. My setup is done. I just clicked on the VM and trying to load the vmin tool installation. After that, I will shut down, then map the folder. I will just try to finish that and come back. But for the network IP, I haven't done anything. Maybe I will just do it later then. Once the VM work tools are installed, then after mapping that folder, once the server is up, then you can put the IP address. How will I know that the vmin tool installation is completed? After clicking on the vmin tab. After clicking on the installation, it will be completed. Have you clicked on next? No, that didn't pop up for me. Now it's there. It's a typical installation. Mohammed just used CyberArk 1. Cyber Same here, same for master browser. You are finished. You want me to run the server manager. Now open in private server. The server is up and running. You can see that the message is a lot. Server 11.22 is an object that you load. Firewall is open for client again. We can verify whether the installation is proper or not by installing the private app. Post installation of private app. You can see 3 default shapes. Close the private app server window. Closed. You want me to close this one. If you close this window, also in background, private app server will be up and running. Close this now. Open softwares folder and open client folder. Client. Client again. Run the setup. Then you can give a new name and complete. Should I be selecting map as network drive in Windows guests? Yes. Power on. Typically. Give the server a name as a word. And server address. Your IP address. Means this is an IP address. 10.1 and the default username administrator. Click on No. Open private app server once to make sure server is up and running. I would talk to server. Server is up and running. Close this window. And open private app client. Second one. Double click on Vault and enter the administrator password. You can see here 3 saves. Notification engine system and Vault. After install the Vault server, you will get 3 default saves. but your install is not successful. Now we have a log off button on the top. Just click on that log off. In the private app client, after stop button, click on that. Close this private app window. And make sure after you are done, you need to properly set down this server. Otherwise, this Vault software will crash and you need to rebuild the server. You need to shut down from it. Shut down. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel. For more information, contact us sales@upptalk.com.